Well, the have-nots always want more. That's why there's bad locks on the front door. That's why the window blinds don't ever shine lighting. The bad side of life seems so inviting. So I'm unsure if I'm unsure. I'm just a big shot who's coming up short. I'm just a little boy trapped in a grown man's body. Only time I ever want is when I know I ain't got it. So give me that piece. 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 You know it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Need a little something more. 5, 6, 7, 8. All that other shit can wait. 9, 10, 11, 12. Why'd I do this to myself? I need some beats right now. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4. Need a little something more. 5, 6, 7, 8. All that other shit can wait. 9, 10, 11, 12. Why'd I do this to myself? I need some beats right now. I'm trying to make mine. The time is on my side, and that's a great sign. Going with the flow, I never swam a straight line. My ocean at the moment's only feeling waist high. So maybe I can stay afloat and take a stage dive in the deep part of it. I don't have to say why, I don't even bother me. Hit you with the face palm. If you keep hollering, I'll pop you, then it's over. Make you Leviosa on some Harry Potter shit. Yeah, I will not admit, yeah, I'm dishonest with, yeah, my own consciousness. I kinda miss the obvious. Yeah, plus I got a bitch, yeah, but I know life's a bitch. I guess that makes me polyamorous. That's probably cause I have nots always want more. That's why there's bad locks on the front door. That's why the window blinds don't ever shine lighting. The bad side of life seems so inviting. So I'm unsure if I'm unsure. I'm just a big shot who's coming up short. I'm just a little boy trapped in a grown man's body. Only time I ever want is when I know I ain't got it. So give me that piece. Give me that.
What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to another live stream here. That is Major Van Winkle. Rest in peace. What's going on, guys? Let's get it rolling here. First things first, before market opens up right now, about in 1 second, read what's on the screen. Most traders lose money. You're probably going to lose money if you trade. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an idiot on YouTube talking about trading for entertainment purposes only. Nothing you see or hear from me is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Do your own research, make your own trading decisions. Now, market is opening up. Let's see what we get rolling. Appreciate you guys hopping on with me here. 9:30 on this nice Tuesday, January 28th. Let's just talk about news real quick. What we have coming up. We have some, right now, no, not 9:30. 10 a.m. we have consumer confidence. Looks like we have the Conference Board Consumer Confidence coming out. That's a high-impact red folder news event, whatever we want to call that. We'll take a look and make sure we try not to do anything too crazy right about 10 a.m. But talking about the market opening up right here at VWAP, let's zoom out to the daily. Hell of a sell-off yesterday and quite a nice bounce back up. Just making sure everything looks good on the screen. Cool. Yeah, so if we looked at what happened yesterday, we opened up, gap to the downside, big push lower, and found some support, found some buyers, rebounded on the way back up. That movement overnight turned into the sell I took yesterday. Didn't look too bad into the afternoon, but we really didn't get a whole bunch of follow through, right? Right around session changeover, we were popping back up before the close. And then overnight, Asia through London, pretty choppy. A little bit of a pop back up here. Late London coming into pre-market for New York. And we are opening up here on the 15-minute chart. We could even drop down to the 5-minute to the downside. Looking at this on my TopstepX 50K account. That's what I'm looking at and trading right here. But we are cracking to the downside just a little bit, but pretty balanced, right? If I look at kind of where we're at back on the 15-minute, I've got my prior day's high level up here, yesterday's low, right? This was the open after that gap to the downside. We're kind of in between all of that. If we look at overnight session, here's going to be our overnight session low right here, right around the 220s. Overnight session high up at the 425-ish, 426-ish. Headed towards that low right now. These are just some big round numbers I have marked off down below price. So what is my thesis for today? trying to stay unbiased, right? Let's let the market open up. Let's see what happens. Maybe we start to just tear to the downside. Maybe we blast off to the upside, right? We don't have to come in fighting the market, right into the first couple minutes of the session. But looking at what we did yesterday and the fact that sellers were really not able to take it lower in New York session, and then this balanced overnight move, I'm cautious of a move back up, and I'm potentially anticipating a move back up to the upside. I'd like to see what happens if and when we pull back, like we're pulling back right now. Do we start to get through the 100s, 21,100s, and then the big round number there with some volume and some momentum, and we don't reject really harshly to the upside? If that happens, and we start to crack lower, or we get some structure, maybe we crack right to the upside, and conversely just do this, start to sell right off. I'm going to be potentially looking short. If we get through these levels really aggressively, I'm going to be potentially looking short for a continuation of this move lower. But that's really not my gut feeling this morning. My gut feeling is either choppy or a potential move back up. This might have just been a very big knee-jerk reaction. Don't have to go into the fundamentals, but if you want to do your research, you can look at DeepSeek, all the stuff that's going on with politics right now. We're on a U.S. indice here in NASDAQ. Tech stocks sold off, right? NVIDIA was down massively, but even that's bounced a little bit. I'm curious to see if we kind of just shake out the longs that we're jumping in overnight or anybody right now, and pull back a little bit further, fake everybody out to the downside, and then start this move back up and potentially have a larger correction. Now, that would be a large move, right, to come all the way back up near the highs. I mean, if we look at the 4-hour zoomed out, this is kind of turned into a mess, right? If I was going to be analyzing this from a higher time frame, here's what I was looking at. Just make sure I got this. There we go. This is a nice trend to the upside, right? That's what we were looking at here on the 4-hour. If we zoom out even further, we know we've been trending to the upside, right? We started to break that a little bit with this downtrend channel right here, right? We had a series of lower highs getting put in and lower lows getting put in. We really, as we start to zoom in further, started to blast back off and continue back on this high time frame trend with this move to the upside. Really not letting our foot off the gas here. I know I'm putting a lot of arrows on the board here. Let's get rid of some of these. That doesn't work as smoothly as I would have liked. We were really starting to blast off here. This looked good. Higher highs, higher lows getting put in, cracking above this level over here, starting to break out of this downtrend channel, right? If we're trending line guys right here, which we're not. But we sold off. Sold off really, really aggressively. Didn't come below the lows. Didn't come below these lows over here or these lows over here. Found buyers step in really aggressively around that 750, 760 area and crack back up to the upside. If sellers today can't take this thing back down lower and get some holding and closures below the 21,000 level, I could look at this as a move back up. I could look at this as a really aggressive knee-jerk reaction to the downside. A bounce, before we opened up, not a lot of selling, be able to take us lower through New York session, and buyers stepping in, people buying down here, and a continuation back up, starting to erase some of this movement here. So that's my higher time frame analysis. But right here, right now, looking at the 15, I'm going to stay fairly unbiased. Again, we are pretty much in between yesterday's high and low, yesterday's candle. We are opening up to the downside, opening up bearish, 9:37 a.m., 7 minutes into New York session. And we are just sweeping below overnight low right here on NQ. I'm not going to look long. Not going to look long until, if and when, we start to really show some buyers first, but potentially pull back a little bit lower. If we turn to burn from here right now to the upside, I might look long. Might look long, structure risk down below lows of session, and look for continuation. I'd love to see it be an even more aggressive sell-off at the open, and then buyers step right back in. Again, we don't get that. I'm going to stay flexible and look short. It's fine by me. I don't have to say buys only or shorts only. I'm going to stay flexible, as I tried to do for New York session. And I really am forming my bias and my thesis as I'm putting on that first trade. And if you guys have been watching over the last couple weeks, or last week, because I got back to live streaming here on YouTube, free every morning, 9:30 last week, I've been taking these larger trades, right? Looking for the larger movement, waiting a little bit at the open, and placing a little bit wider stop loss, a little bit wider take profit, and look to capitalize on that larger movement. And what's been helping has kind of just been staying patient through the first 15 minutes to half hour of the trading session, watching what's going on, being here, right? Because if the market starts moving and you're not here and you say, all right, I start trading at 10 o'clock, well, maybe you missed the whole move and we already sold off, a couple hundred points. But primarily staying patient at the open. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of these fake out type movements, and then looking to structure for the larger move, creating that thesis. We're going to move up. We're going to move down. We're likely to do something and then continue down without continuing up to this spot, or vice versa, right? Finding an invalidation point. And that's been working out really nicely. My review for myself on that. What's up, guys? Lone Wolf, Relaxing Zen. You guys and your crazy names, Jim Jacks. What's up? What's up? Yeah, my review so far on my trades. And again, you could go back, you watch the live sessions, they stay up. You could hop in the free Discord, links in the description. You can check out all of that good stuff. I try to keep you guys updated if I have a trade on, or if I put one on like I did yesterday, took a short. What would have worked best in reviewing my journal, reviewing my data, is really leaving these trades alone, not touching them. And again, I think that just is somewhat what you want to do when you jump into a higher time frame trade, right? You're going to have a really clear level of invalidation, a pretty wide stop loss, an area that you don't want to see price reach. Otherwise, it's the market telling you you're wrong, or your take profit. And I had one trade where I cut a loser short and I saved myself a full stop out. And I had more than one trade where, had I just let the thing run like all the way into the close, for example, I would have captured the most profit. So again, I'm always looking to improve, to adapt. I don't claim to be the best trader. I certainly don't claim to have it all figured out. I think as soon as you do that, no matter where you are in your trading journey, the market's going to humble you. But yeah, that's my area of improvement, right? I try to ask myself what's been going really well, what's been going really poorly, where can I improve? What do I need to do more or less of? And if I'm going to take these higher time frame, larger hold trades, right? Watching from the 15-minute, pretty zoomed out. Nice, clear invalidation point. Put the risk on because you're probably not going to add to the trade, right? So size accordingly. And then let that bad boy run. If it has to stop you out, it has to stop you out. You're probably going to do more damage trying to cut the loser short or maybe clip the winner early than you are just letting the thing play out. Right? I think if I do this, I will have more that kind of end up just consolidating, chopping, and maybe, towards the close, I'm just closing out arbitrarily wherever we are because Top Step, you have to be out of the market after session close. But yeah, that's my my review for myself, which I'll always try to share with you guys. Entries, really solid. Been picking solid trades. Win rate has been very, very good. Trade management is the, invalidation's good. Take profit areas, good ideas. Invalidation point. Excuse me. Trade management is the area for improvement. Trade management. Really not messing with the trade too much, despite what you see going on. Just sticking to that initial thesis until you're proven wrong, get stopped out, or, take your profit and then move on to the next trade. Lower time frame stuff, I do really, really well actively managing my trades, aggressively cutting losers short, looking to manage the trade. Sometimes it just does not make sense based on what's going on with price action and market structure, and I will clip a trade, as it's starting to turn around or something along those lines. But for these longer holds, set some TradingView alerts and let it run, man. That's my analysis. It's my analysis. But outside of that, it's been beautiful, man. Have not been getting caught up in the chop, which has been really, really nice. Again, been on the right side of the market a handful of times. not really capitalized fully on what I would have liked to based on trade management, but that's an easy improvement, right? Easy improvement. It's actually really, really simple if you notice, hey, I just should do less. that's a no-brainer. So selling off here at the open, right? Consecutive bearish bars coming up on a 15-minute close. Sellers taking this thing lower, right? We're down below overnight session low. Let's see what happens down here. Do we come down to test this level that we tested multiple times, this 100? And if we get down here, like I said, I'm not looking for buys stupid aggressively off these lows, right? I'm not going to come into the session with a bias and say I'm long. I'm just looking long down here for a really aggressive entry. I'm going to wait to see. Do we just aggressively knife lower, and this is going to be, really a continuation of what we saw yesterday? Or do we find some support down here? Do we, what I would like to see for a long, which I'm anticipating but not going to act on until the market shows its hand, a crack lower somewhere down here, maybe here is far enough, and aggressive buying, right? Momentum to the upside, volume to the upside, right back up to VWAP, and then holding above. That would give me maybe a way to get long on the way back up on that turnaround, somewhat of an aggressive entry point, nice wide stop loss, below whatever low we put in, probably below some level of structure over here. This would be really far to get a stop loss below, right? Like that's really far down there. You'd have to be targeting a massive move to the upside. So far selling off, man. Selling off. What's up, John? We took a very short scalp, 270, 4-min Qs. Beautiful, 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 man. Break of the trend line to the downside. Very nice, man. Very nice. Love to hear it. Yeah, we have quite a bit of liquidity at 155. Show you guys what this looks like on Bookmap. Bookmap is my favorite order flow tool. You can find the link for discounts to Bookmap in the description. I'm partnered with Bookmap. Fair warning, can't be unbiased, but see if it doesn't crash on me here. Yeah, Bookmap's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's kind of lagging out. Bookmap's pretty sweet when it doesn't lag out or crash. And we'll see that live together if that happens. Gives you depth of market displayed by way of a heat map. I use this in a very simple, dumb guy way, the way that I use most of my trading tools. There's so much advanced, information you could pull from this, so much, additional things you could add on. I'm looking for this right here. Big stack of orders on the book, tells me what price level it's at, what quantity if I really wanted to know. But to say, hey, if I'm not paying attention to the 155 level, I probably want to pay attention to it. We got a boatload of buy orders relative to everything else on the book. If we get down there, maybe we see some volatility. Maybe those orders get pulled, it's spoofing. Maybe they fill, we see a lot of volatility to the downside, we crack through this level. Maybe more orders start to show up on the book. This is obviously an area of interest for somebody or multiple people. So just something to pay attention to. Another level on the chart to pay attention to. I don't think anybody has to use Bookmap to be profitable or to make money trading. Maybe it's going to hurt some guys more than it helps others. It's just something that I like. Outside of that, looking at my chart while we're watching to see if we come down into this level. I really only have 3 quote-unquote indicators. They're all volume tools on my chart. VWAP, standard session VWAP, visible range volume profile, gives me a temporary volume profile as I scroll in and out, and traditional volume down on the bottom. Outside of that, lines and zones, discretionary and objective lines and zones, prior day high and low, some areas of interest on my chart marked off of levels of structure to pay attention to, right? I say, look at this low down here, big round number I want to pay attention to, nice zone that I want to pay attention to, right? Coming off of maybe some higher time frame structure. That's what we've got going on over here. Simple stuff. I use price action and market structure to trade a discretionary system focused on risk management and focused on what I was talking about here first with you guys, reviewing, improving, right? Focusing on your mindset and psychology, trying to understand maybe why you're touching up your trade so much and it's not helping you, and maybe you just don't do that and you challenge yourself to improve. I think trading can be incredibly simple. Does not mean it's easy. Does not mean it's easy. I think it takes quite a bit of time to build experience, to build discretion that I'm talking about utilizing in my trading. You can't buy that. You can't, shortcut that as chart time. Yeah, still selling, man. Still selling for now. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Again, slightly long biased coming into the session, but going to do my best to stay flexible. Right? That's my deal. I found that over my time trading. If I come into a trading session, just briefly glancing at a chart and form a strong bias, saying I think it's going to go long or I think it's going to go short, and I'm trading a highly volatile session with a lot of volume, right? Like New York Open, and I don't let it actually open up. I don't let the market maybe show me what's going to go on. Maybe I'm long off the open, and I'm already 150, 138 points in drawdown, right? So I like to chill out, stay flexible, try to flow with the market, and wait for a good way to structure risk, right? That's the key. Not only an entry, right? Not only based on this historical price action and data and pattern or tools, whatever you're using, do I think X is going to happen next, but how do I structure risk? Do I have a favorable way to place an invalidation point? That's a clear spot that says I'm dead wrong, and I believe that the market can move in the direction of my trade. That's risk management. Would you wait for the 10 a.m. news to trade, or you get in if a setup shows before? That's a good question, my man. The way that I've been trading and as stops as wide as I've been running, I would consider getting in before something like consumer confidence. I would not consider getting in, even the way that I've been trading, before something like NFP or an FOMC rate. But based on this red folder news, although it can be really volatile and we can see a huge reaction, it's typically not, just in my humble experience, in my opinion, reviewing, that and watching it play out, many times. So I wouldn't mind getting in ahead of it. I'd prefer for the market to not set up for me before that. I'd prefer not to have to take on that increased uncertainty that comes from the change in volatility, right? So, but for me, I would get in. If I'm trading on like the 5 minute, the 3 minute, we're really zoomed in, the 100 tick 5 minute combo, probably not. You're probably not going to survive the volatility. Even if you're right, you're probably going to get wicked out on that 10 a.m. news. You might want to just wait. So hope that answers the question. That was long-winded, but the answer is yes. I'd get in before if it sets up, although I would prefer not to. The only reason I would get in is because I would run a wide stop loss and because I don't think it's the most insane news event. We got some stuff later this week, and that's likely to be more of a problem for us. We have FOMC tomorrow, right? Get the federal funds rate at 2 p.m. Like, I'm not going to be in for 2 p.m. Not unless I'm going to YOLO a combine or something. Unemployment claims Thursday at 8:30 a.m. I think that's another really big one. I'd be cautious around that. And then some of the stuff on Fridays, 8:30, not as bad. But, there's different levels to that high impact news, right? Like they all might be red or whatever color, or however it's marked on your financial news site. But there's different levels, right? Like FOMC is probably going to be the largest market mover, probably, out of these. That's my guess. Nice. Took the short from VWAP up 1.4K. Very nice, dude. Very nice. Nice. Yeah, watching a reaction here, right? So like we talked about, was anticipating this to happen first. Do we pull right back up and start to push to the upside? I'm looking long. It's going to be close to that 10 a.m. news, which I don't like. But this is exactly what I was anticipating first, right? Anticipating not that I'm going to put money on the line, but speculating, right? And just creating a narrative. Like I said, right? Pulling back, maybe sweeping down below here somewhere, and then finding some support and continuing to the upside. This isn't as aggressive as a pullback and a crack back up as I would have liked to start to jump in long right here. This is, this could easily still be just a break to the downside, retest of prior lows, broken in a downtrend that's forming, and a continuation. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like what I was anticipating. This feels like bulls stepping back in. And we're going to be close to that 10 a.m. But if we start to push back up through these highs, I'm going to look long. That's my first setup. And it might be a little bit earlier than I have over the last few days. But I'd be looking long with stops below lows of session. Not yet, right? And exactly when that comes, that's my discretionary entry. I'm going to use my discernment of price action and market structure and volume tools. You guys hear me okay? Or is something jacked up on my end? You let me know. Let's just double check. Connection looks okay. I was messing with this mic a little bit, so I don't know if that jacked anything up. Might just be you, man. If you guys can't hear me, if something sounds jacked up, just let me know. I'll try to fix it, or I'll restart. But connection looks good. We're good. Streaming on YouTube. Appreciate you guys being here, man. We got some people hopping on. Feel free, hit like. Help me out. You don't have to do anything. Free means free. I'm here live trading every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I run subscriber mode on, so if you want to chat, hit the subscribe button. You want to get alerts when I go live, all that fun stuff. And feel free to hop in the free Discord. 100% free community, right? Not a VIP feeder program. And Q&A, community of over 1,400 traders growing every day. It's pretty sweet. Probably when I was just playing with it. Yeah, I was moving the mic around. This arm is like super squeaky, so that's probably what that was. But yeah, be happy to have you in there, man. Free Discord as we're pushing back up, and I'm looking long on NQ. Let me throw this in there for you guys. This way, you hop in the Discord. You could follow along with more of my trading. If I end this stream, for example, with a trade not on, or I don't get a trade on, I do my best to call out my management or a follow-up trade if I take one into the afternoon. Not always going to happen, but I will do my best to do that and tag everybody. Once I start, I try to see it through to the end, like I did yesterday. So, good morning, good morning. Good to see you guys, man. Appreciate you hopping on. But yeah, outside of that, bunch of more links in the description. If you trade with prop firms, if you use paid trading software, I probably got a discount for you. You can use code RDF, or you can hit the link below and get the discount. If not, you don't want to do any of that, no pressure, man. Make sure you do your own research. Make sure you decide all of these things for yourself, right? That's important. But yeah, man, this is this sell-off, opening to the downside is getting eaten right back up. I'm really curious what happens from here. I'm like I said, looking long on this. This would be a more ideal entry than to wait for a massive push to the upside. I'm cautious that we are going to form some downtrend structure here. And, I'm going to wait for a little bit more confirmation to the upside, but this is what I was looking at, right? A push lower, sweep lower, take all the weak hand longs out, and get ready to push up and erase some of this move. Anticipating that being a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction from yesterday, and that, we're going to see some buying today, that we are not going to get drug lower by a whole bunch. Take a look at ES. Similar structure, not as much of a pushback up after the sell-off at the 9:30 candle. Take a look at Dow just for fun, which is always living in its own world, and living in its own world, as usual. The black sheep of the crew. Yeah, so again, I'm going to watch this from a higher time frame, right? I'm going to watch this on the 15 because I'm going to get an invalidation point off of a 15-minute level of structure. So coming up on news, 2 minutes to 10 a.m. news. Red folder news, I would be cautious. If you are trading right now, if you have a stop in place, I'd make sure you accept whatever risk you have on. We're likely to see a little bit of increase in volatility. Just typically what happens around news events. Not a major one like we talked about, not an FOMC rate like we have tomorrow, but something, definitely something. And if these come in, you never know. If they come in, way off of a forecast, you could see some real movement. So I would like, as a minute to go, I'd like for a muted response. This is what would be ideal. Kind of just to chill out a little bit and not break and run to the upside, because that would kind of leave me in the dust here. I'd like for this to continue. Maybe we get some structure, we try it lower again, and then continue up. But if buyers stay in control here, we get above VWAP, we start holding above. Again, I'm going to look long, wide stop loss, down below lows of session most likely, for a potential continuation to the upside. I'm not going to take it yet because I think we can still turn from here, right? I still think we can just be opening up to the downside, right? Very weak open below VWAP. Following this structure here, this is going to be a retest, and then we continue lower. So again, waiting patient a little bit. Like I said, maybe a little bit earlier than the last couple of days, just because we got somewhat of a setup forming for me, but wait it out. So about 20 seconds to news, 10 a.m. Eastern, red folder news, consumer confidence. I think it's either going to go up or down at 10 a.m. Yeah, it's either going to go up or down. Go sideways for a little bit, but it's either going to go up or down. It's the nice thing about the markets. It's not that hard of a game to play. Let's see. Let's see. Watch it on the 15, kind of zoomed out. We are opening up bullish here at 10 a.m. Not crazy though, right? We didn't blast off. That's, that's kind of what still can happen, 30 seconds in. But that's kind of what I was expecting for consumer confidence, right? Like not a huge, like massive knife to the upside, 200-point candle or something. It's just not typically as violent of a move. Again, you never know. They come in way off expectations. It can be pretty dang violent. So. Yeah, this is, we got some movement, right? Market's moving. Going from the open so far, high to the low, here in MNQ that we're coming up to test right now. About 160-point range. We're going to push that to the upside right here, right now. Ooh, levels of liquidity up above as well. Taking a look at Bookmap over to the side. I like this long, guys. I like this long. Do I want to try it from down here? Really not waiting to see if we pull back at all. With a really wide stop loss. 175-point stop loss. Yeah, I'm tempted because I think we can move today. I really think we can move. I think we could break these highs, continue back up to this level. And if I'm wrong all the way down here. I'm going to wait for a little bit of a pullback on this candle. Maybe back down to this zone. Again, we have what I was looking for. A crack lower, a break above VWAP, holding above VWAP, right? Not finding resistance here. Although we are only 2 minutes into this post-news. I'm going to wait to see if we pull back right to this middle ground area of high volume. If we blast off from here, I'm left in the dust, right? But I'd like to see a 40-ish point pullback to give me an entry, maybe even down towards these lows of this this zone, looking on the 5-minute, and I would look to structure a long that way. That's my initial game plan, right? I'm going to wait to see what happens. Might not happen. We might blast off from here. We might knife lower, but I'm going to look for something along these lines. That's my thought process. I think if I am wrong, right, and we just turn from here and we come all the way down lower, yes, there's a chance we sweep session lows and just, you know, blast off from there, and I'm too early. But I think if we head all the way back down lower after this type of reaction to the upside, I'm just dead wrong, and we're going to actually continue lower. So let's see if waiting for this pullback down back towards VWAP is going to be a bad idea, because we are pushing to the upside right now. But that's my game plan. Looking long off VWAP. I think buyers are in control based on what I'm seeing right here. I like this sweep down below and a continuation to the upside. I'm not going to buy the break above and just buy right into it. I'm going to wait for another pullback. I think it would give me another way to structure risk, or a little bit better way to structure risk with a better entry. My risk is that I just miss this move. We continue to the upside, which I'm going to take on in favor of not entering, you know, maybe 50 points above where I'd like to get an entry. Right, going to go for a little break and retest action. That's what we're looking at. Simple. Simple stuff. Wanted to go long 10 minutes ago, but decided to not blow another funded account on the first day. Yeah, probably, you know, probably don't want to do that. Probably don't want to blow funded accounts on the first day. Unless you're trading them really aggressively, you know, then you're okay with that. But, yeah, you know, aggressive into news. It's tough. It's a tough call. You know, nobody really wants to get involved in the first 60 seconds of a news event. You don't know what the volatility is going to be, right? The markets, and people always say, oh, well, it's the same. Market's still going to go up or down. And I totally agree with that. And I'm not saying it makes it any like less certain that the market's still going to go up or down and it's going to do whatever it was going to do. The issue for me, and I think for many traders, is the change in volatility, the rapid change in volatility. The next candle prints a lot faster and a lot larger, and you're structuring your risk and your position size based on current volatility. And while you know it's likely to increase, you don't know to what degree it's likely to increase. And that's where a lot of the challenge comes in with news, right? Market's still going to go up or down. You're still going to take a win or a loss. You know, you're either going to be right or wrong on the trade. You know, hopefully a little bit more money when you're right, a little bit less money when you're wrong. But the challenge is how you structure that risk and whether you get taken out of a good trade before it moves in your direction. Just because, you know, you had your stop too tight and that volatility increased. So this thing is taken off. It does not look like it wants to pull back. Again, guys, here's what I'm looking at. Break above VWAP, hold, continuation to the upside. I'm looking long on this. Stop loss somewhere down below here. I am waiting, again, for now from this point, 60-ish, 70-ish point pullback, because I think that's a good way to structure risk. I'm not as comfortable getting a stop loss down below here at 200 points as I am with 140 points of risk. I'd be much more happy with that. So we might blast off from here, right? Double-edged sword to everything. You know, on one day I may miss this type of trade, but I do find that I set myself up for a good way to structure risk. You know what I'm looking for and wait for that to happen. And if it doesn't happen, cool. I wait for the next opportunity. We come up here, we do something different. I create a new thesis, you know, new trade setup, and we go from there. But I am getting ready for a long. Yeah, probably gonna put some not big size, right? A couple micros, but decent amount of risk because this is a wide stop, you know. And why would I do that? I'm not going to structure it with a stop loss right at you know, right below one of these 5-minute bars. I don't think that presents a really clear invalidation level. I think the market can pull back anywhere within here that it wants to before potentially continuing. If we waited, you know, looking at the 5-minute, your option number 2 would be to say, well, I'm not going to get a stop loss down below there. That's way too far. I'm going to wait for a pullback and then a continuation to the upside, and I'm going to look to enter on a break above with a stop loss down below this level. You know, that's kind of option number 2. So let's see what we get. But we got something forming. Other opportunities. I always like to talk about the opposite side of that trade. Again, we did open up bearish. This could be crack above and aggressive. Here we are selling back off right now. Aggressive turn to the downside and absolutely come right down, take these lows and continue lower. You know, that could be a move. So I'm cautious of that, but I'm willing to put the risk on based on this higher time frame analysis. Looking for a continuation back up to the upside. Getting a little bit of a pullback here. Again, I'm looking around VWAP, around the 300 level. 290s to 300s. I'd like that. This temporary volume point of control. For a long. Yeah, liquidity above price, up at the 400s, 450s. Yeah, 400s, 450s. We got orders up here. That's making the case that we may want to continue higher. If we get up there, we got sell orders to go and fill. Again, looking for a long entry somewhere down around these 90s. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd be okay, you know, if we pulled back further than that. I'm going to go with a wide stop loss down below this level. And look to hold on to this bad boy. Run the risk of us just absolutely knifing through the lows, in which case I would look short. I'd probably be looking short somewhere down here for a second trade. But let's see what we get. $10 a.m. Yeah, we might take off from here. But again, I'm gonna stick to my guns, right? I'm not gonna chase. I'm looking at the 300 to 290 level for a potential entry on the long side. I'm looking for a break above VWAP, hold, pull back down, right? Very, very clear line in the sand, you know, simple level of structure. About 30 points lower, jump in with about 2 micros long. That's my game plan. Could be a choppy day, though. You know, we could be in for some chop today. That's the other option. Right? Up, down, or chop. Yeah, we got orders at 300. I think we're going to crack 300 and fill that, and that's going to give me a way in. Those are kind of coming on and off. Somebody playing around on the book. Looking at Bookmap on my separate screen here. I'll show you guys that in a minute because I am getting ready for a buy. Yeah, again, willing to miss the trade up here for, you know, a 30, 40 point difference. It's just not as appetizing, right? The risk structure has to make sense, and I'm going to want a stop loss. You know, I'd like to get one somewhere way down here below these lows. And from up here, it makes for a really, really wide stop loss, a lot of risk to take on, in which case I'm, you know, targeting a really, really big move to the upside to make it worth my while. We pull back a little bit further, you know, retest this area. Trade's good. I get a better entry, and, you know, I'm looking at taking it to the upside, but not doing that just yet. Taking off without retesting. This looks like we might want to push. But we stay patient, right? And that's the benefit of hanging out, recording these sessions, trading live with you guys. You get to hear the explanation. You get to see what I'm looking at, why I'm looking at what I'm doing, the risks of both sides, kind of just get an understanding of the way that I trade for better or for worse. Yep, back up. This looks like we may not want to retest VWAP. We may just want to run for it because I don't know that we back off once we hit 400s. Yeah, this is pretty volatile. We're moving, man. That's strong. It's pretty strong. Back up to the highs. Close to my entry level, but not quite there. ES taking off as well. Yep, I'm going to watch this one move without me. Again, guys, was looking long off the 300s, 90s, 290s after a pullback. Didn't get that pullback. Got close, but no cigar. Wanted that to be able to structure risk with a stop way, way down below. You got to trade here from the 5-minute, the 3-minute, low time frames where you say, I think this is going to blast off from here. I'm buying the breakout. Right above these highs, stop loss right below these lows, and I'm going to structure risk just like this, right up to the 450s. I think we're likely to go tag that before we come back down lower and retest VWAP. It's not a bad trade. It's not a bad setup. Obviously, something I wouldn't hold for as long. Wouldn't maybe not hold for a massive push to the upside, but you can structure with a nice positive risk to reward. Again, we got orders right at 400. I think we go tag that. We sweep above these highs. I don't think that this is a bad trade. I don't think there's anything wrong with that long right there. Does not look bad. But just not for me. It's not my setup. It's not the way that I want to put risk on today. I want something that I can capture a longer hold for a larger move to the upside. So, my trade idea is still valid. I'm totally cool with a sweep back down nice and aggressively to the 90s. That's what I'm looking at. Right in the middle of this area of consolidation. But we may not get it. May not get it. And by the time we do, it may be looking very different, right? We could have something setting up very, very different. But if you're on here with me, feel free. Hit like, hit subscribe, help me out. Smash the like button. Help me get some YouTube engagement. You don't have to do anything. Free's free. I always try to say that after I ask for anything. You can be hanging out here on free. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything. If you'd like to hop in the free Discord, link is in the chat. Link's in the description. 100% free community. 1,400 members. Q&A, guys sharing charts, the good, the bad, the fun stuff, the green P&Ls, and the blown accounts, right? Keep it real in there. We leave the Lambos and Rolexes for the other boys. Yeah, man, we might blast off from here. I'm not gonna chase this, but this looks strong, man. This doesn't look like we want to back off. Again, I just got to go with what works more often, right? Today, the feel is that we may just blast off from here. And I'm inclined to get involved from up here. But I know more often than not, just slightly more often than not, the market structure and price action that I'm waiting for sets up and it's a good entry for me. And if it doesn't set up, it's best for me not to take the non-setup trade, not to chase. But I'll review, right? I'll take the screenshot of the chart. I'll take a look and say, hey, Zach, how many times does it, kind of do what you want it to do, right? The anticipation for the move. Pull back, crack back up, hold above VWAP, but it just doesn't pull back, doesn't give you the entry that you want, but it rips, but it continues. Maybe you just structure risk in some other arbitrary way, and that makes sense. I always keep an open mind. Try to understand any way that I could find in that find my way into the market that would make sense. But right now, waiting on a pullback. That's what we got. Destroyed my funded account. Second day, blink of an eye. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, guys. I mean, I would encourage you to do a couple things with these accounts. Set your limits, right? Set your risk management. What's your risk per trade? What's your risk per day? What are the total amount of losses you're allowed to take in a day? If you do that, you know the worst case scenario. And then if you're on TopstepX, for example, set those parameters to lock you out. Set them to liquidate and lock you out, so you really can't blow your account faster than you want to. But use your max drawdown as your account size. Yeah. Set your risk parameters. Decide how many losses you want to allow yourself to take before the account's gone. Decide, and you could base this stuff on your win rate and your risk to reward, roughly. You could look at these numbers. But decide what your risk per trade is, what your risk per day is, what the total amount of trades you want to allow yourself is, and what that looks like based on risk per day. And then accept that on the front end, right? Accept that 110%. And if you do, in a worst case scenario, you take back-to-back losses, here's how long the account is alive for. And if you're not happy with that, then you back it off. If it's too conservative, you increase it. But you should have that on the front end. Everybody should have that on the front end. It's a requirement. Otherwise, you don't know the worst case scenario, and you're not able to stay objective and focused in the moment. You're not able to just be focusing on putting your trades on, executing, structuring your risk the way that you're supposed to be structuring your risk. You're hoping and wishing and taking on too much and all that good stuff. But structure your risk. Yeah. And again, if you're with TopstepX, you have a cheat code. I think Tradeify has it. Brian from the group showed me another one, Guardian Angel something. But there's things that lock you out. It can really help you if you're struggling with that yourself. What happens up here for NQ? Do we blast off? Do we really just blast off from here? Yep. Might be waiting for that ideal entry that just isn't going to give it to me today. I'm gonna wait to see how these next couple candles form. Potentially come up with a different way to find myself into this market. Find my way into this market. Would like some way to structure risk on this. There's not a clear invalidation point for me, right? It's really a non-negotiable. You drop to the 5 minute. You could 3 minute, 2 minute. You could say right here. Stop loss at VWAP. I don't like that. Just don't like that. So wait to see. Let's look at S&P. Yeah, these are looking fairly strong. Looking fairly strong. Yeah, I know what I'm looking for on this. If you guys got questions, feel free. Ask in the chat. if you got trading questions, happy to talk about it. Otherwise, I'll get ready to wrap it up pretty soon because I know what I'm looking at. Waiting for a pullback, any kind of a pullback, any way to structure risk from really the 5-minute to the 15-minute. Something that gives me a clear invalidation point. Within this 15-minute candle, that's not enough for me. And a stop loss right at break at VWAP is just not it. But I'm going to look long on this. I think we're going to continue. I'm running the risk of just, letting it go without me because I don't have a clear way to structure risk. And I think this could be a larger move, and I want to be able to survive a pullback. That's the whole thesis right here. Simple, price action, market structure, trending to the upside, not cracking below lows, sweeping below overnight session, aggressive buyer stepping back in. I like this long. I want to find a way in once I can structure risk. This would be paying with a stop loss down below here, but again, just not enough for me. My only other option would be getting involved right at a 10 a.m. news candle with a stop loss down below here. And at that point, we're just really not, we are breaking this trend, but we're just starting to break it. And that would be looking really, really good right now. An earlier entry. Really good. But we're still waiting for some more confirmation from the market. Sad thing, my plan was to long NQ at 21,192. I did it, panicked, switched to the short side. Yeah. Yep. Not good, man. Not good. Sorry that happened. Form the thesis, stick to the plan. If you're really struggling, jumping in and out too quickly, set your limits, zoom out a little bit, trade from a higher time frame. I think all those things can help. But you have to decide to stick to a plan. You have to decide that something works, right? You have some way to quantify what's working for you. And then you have to stick to that. Otherwise, you're just buying and selling off of every green and red candle and hoping and wishing that something's going to work out. And hoping and wishing is unfortunately not a good trading strategy. Yep, through the 400s, liquidity up at this level, getting ready to trade out the 450s. Yep, going to get IB high and low soon. Looks like IB high is going to be getting put in really as we're pushing the highs. Be pretty obvious that we want to break that one first and potentially extend the upside. So that's not going to be major help today. But again, going to look for a way in long. Some kind of a pullback. That would be pretty dang deep. This was my original area. As we were pushing to the upside here, I was waiting for a pullback right at this area to get long. We didn't get that. We just ran the upside. I'd like some kind of a pullback, way to structure risk to the upside and hold on to a longer move. But this is moving without me. You guys know what I'm looking for into the afternoon. Hop in the free Discord if you're not already. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there, man. This did exactly what I wanted it to do. It just didn't give me the pullback that I needed to get long right at the 300s, 90s. I would have been chasing at this point for me and my strategy, buying into the move to the upside. Without getting the pullback that I wanted to see and the way that I could structure risk. So I'm going to just have to see if I have to journal this one as something that runs without me, not a missed trade, right? Because I didn't have my entry, but something that says, hey, maybe this happens often. You could find your way in with a, not as clear of a way to invalidate risk. But that's going to be my morning so far, guys. Hop in the Discord. I'll let you know. If I take a nice trade, something I'm going to hold on to for a long period of time, I'll try to throw that in there. Otherwise, hit like, hit subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing you see here or anywhere else from me is financial advice or suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Talk to you guys soon. See you tomorrow again here, 9:30 a.m. Eastern.